I would also say too, like I would encourage everyone to keep this conversational, ask each other questions too as we go. Oh, and it looks like folks are joining in. So hello everybody. I'll give folks a second to stream in to this panel as everyone comes out of the waiting room. But welcome to our panel on called Get Systems Savvy. Stop working in your business, start working on it. My name's Kevin. I'm from the Lettuce team. I'm also a fractional worker myself. And today we're going to get into how to explore, what the right systems are that can transform your solo business from surviving to thriving. So before I start, I'll go over a quick housekeeping on the session. This is 40 minutes long, so there is time for a break in between the next one if this is your first session. As I'm going to be sort of hosting this Q&A for the group here. We have Rachel, Omry, and Gosha, who I'll introduce momentarily. But I am, not the only place from which questions can arise. So please drop them into the chat, drop them into the Q&A, because it would be great to hear from you guys and integrate those. So specifically, I would actually love for everyone to first start, just introduce yourself in the chat. It'd be great to see maybe like your name and what your business focuses on. And then maybe a bit about where you are in your business, et cetera. If you have systems or not, just give us a sense of, what it is that you're looking to get out of this. And then in the Q&A tab is where you can drop questions and you can upvote each other so we can see the ones that seem to be bumping up the most. Okay, fabulous. So without any more delay, I want to introduce our group here. Let me hop back into my other document. So we have three fantastic people here, Gosha, Rachel, and Omry. Gosha Fitzgerald is the co-founder of OnePage CRM, a platform used by entrepreneurs in over 80 countries to streamline their business operations. With more than 15 years of entrepreneurial expertise, she's built her reputation on driving results and nurturing sustainable growth across business landscapes. We also have Rachel Meltzer. Rachel is a business coach who's helped over 200 freelancers find success and stability. She's developed a unique approach to helping independent professionals land their dream clients, escape the feast and famine cycle, and create consistent, sustainable businesses. And lastly, we have Omry Man. Omry is the co-founder and the CRO of Ankor, a platform dedicated to transforming how business owners manage their revenue journey. So Omry's over 2 decades of experience in software, business development, and strategy, and he's built his career solving complex challenges and finding innovative solutions. So thank you, all of you. Appreciate it. And yeah, I'd like to keep this as conversational as possible. So I would encourage you guys to interact with each other. And again, we want to hear from people in the chat as we dive into this. So I'm going to kick it off with Rachel. You've helped hundreds of, and also to everyone stick around, there's going to be offers from, at the end, there's going to be an offer from each one of our panelists too. So stay till the end and be able to take advantage of that. So Rachel, I'm going to start with you. You've helped hundreds of freelancers create more stable businesses. What would you say is some of the most, effective systems you've seen for managing, client relationships and pipeline?
Yeah, I think the most important thing about having a stable system is using a software that you feel comfortable in or that you can get comfortable with instead of something that you think you should be using that should solve all your problems, so that you actually want to use it, and then creating one source of truth within that software so everything that you need to keep track of is easy to find and easy to stay on top of.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I think a lot of people fall into the trap of like copying what they think other people do and what they should be doing because of that, but that's not necessarily means it's like the right thing for you. I think Gosha, you of course obviously built a product that you want, solos to use and business owners to use. How do you sort of approach building systems like that and making sure that they're what I guess I'll ask this, in your approach to building systems, what do you see that sort of makes them, what do you look for to make sure that they're usable? How should people be assessing, fit? for themselves.
Absolutely, yeah. So you should be looking for a system that basically solves your problem that you're facing right now, instead of creating more problems by using a system that's not user-friendly or works against you, right? So like from our experience, the problem we were experiencing when we actually set up our business was that we actually had expertise. We were building websites at the time, and we had consulting business, but we didn't have expertise in selling. So, you know, you always have to work on the business development, but this is the area that people really dislike or avoid at all costs. And that's directly kind of linked to your business growth. If you don't take care of that aspect, basically your business might not survive. So how we approached this was trying to find a system that will help us actively sell. So we started very simple, like, okay, we turned to Excel, and we were hoping that that would be the tool to use. You know, like we look for simplicity, and Excel is fabulous. You know, I love that system. It can take a lot of data, and you can really do great things with it. The only problem is that it really looks into the past. Okay, so you can record all your past interactions, whatever happened, but it's not really forward facing. And that was the aspect that we needed for us. You know, we needed something that will force us or encourage us to, you know, proactively do the proactive outreach to find new clients. And we didn't really want to spend a lot of time doing that. Okay, nobody has that time, obviously. So when we realized that Excel wasn't for us, we kind of felt, okay, how can we simplify the process of business development and make it very simple to execute and make it repeatable? So for us, it was dividing the sales process into actionable steps. Okay, so, you know, everybody deals with that on a daily basis. Your sales process can be a little bit different in every case, but yes, you do start with lead qualification, engagement, sending your maybe kind of introduction emails and so on. And there's always something else to follow that initial step. So we said, okay, we just want to remove that emotional side of, you know, overthinking about the business development, and kind of remove that fear of the failure. Like, you know, oh, what if like something happened and I won't be able to ensure that I get a new client? It was just basically, okay, you have the target, you send that maybe initial, you initiate initial contact, like, you know, to your maybe user base, select, I don't know, 10, 20 clients or potential clients, and just do it. And then wait for a response. If they don't respond, just follow up. So just instead of like getting into a tizzy as like, oh, what happens if, you know, just start doing things and learn from the project, from that, from what you're actually doing, and then just move on to the next one. So that was kind of our key to solving that issue around not doing stuff, like, you know, versus waiting for it. You know, look is not the best strategy, so you better start doing, and this is the way to deliver results.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I actually want to take a quick step back and give folks a little bit of context. So I think, so maybe people can help ask maybe some like questions that are really appropriate for each one of you. I'd love to take a step back and just give everyone like a quick, your very quick elevator pitch of like what it is that your individual business focuses on. Probably should have led with that, but I'd love to start, since Omry hasn't spoken yet. Omry, if you could tell us a little bit about Ankor, that would be great. And then Rachel would love to hear about how, you know, you approach system savvy, and then Gosha would love to hear what OnePage CRM does. So Omry, let's have you kick that off for us.
Thank you so much. Hey, everybody. I'm the co-founder of Ankor. Ankor is a revenue automation system. Basically, we make sure that you get paid effortlessly. What does that mean? I owned several businesses before starting companies. I've been an entrepreneur since I can remember myself. And if there was anything I hated, was billing and chasing clients and having that, oh, you didn't get the invoice? Oh, sure, I'll send it again. Oh, you're on a ski vacation. How nice. And understanding that, you know, I've did the work, and yet I need to chase money that I already earned. It made me feel like a mouse, and I hated it. And it actually made me hate my business and eventually hate my clients. And when we looked at it, this was years ago, and there was a lot of challenges because the way things are working is manual, and it's the system is sort of rigged against service providers. So we decided to solve this, and we did. The way we did it is we made sure that there's a proposal. It collects the payment information in advance before you get to work. All the terms, everything's in there, and it's digital. So it's not paper-based concept. You do your magic. The invoice will be generated automatically. The payment will be pulled automatically and reconciled to your QuickBooks or whatever GL you're using. So essentially, right now, the default is that for you to get paid, you need to do something. You need to send an invoice, and your clients need to do something, meaning click a button or pay you. We don't like that. So we changed that. Right now, the default is you're getting paid. So you don't need to invoice anything anymore. It's happening automatically, and your client doesn't need to actively pay. So I assume there's a ton of questions running through your mind, but what if and what if? So we solved all that what ifs, but I don't want to take too much time. So essentially, Ankor gets you paid. It's a proposal to paid system.
Fabulous. All right, Rachel, pass it over to you.
Yeah. Oh, we love a good automation, Omry. I am a freelance business coach, and I offer a lot of resources for freelancers, including Notion templates with all of the systems that I use for my business in Notion. And they all link out to like all of the tools that I use and the exact way that I manage my client roster and my tasks. And then I also have one-on-one coaching and a membership community that you can join if you want to. I mostly coach digital marketers, and all of my paid coaching options come with my freelance resource library. So it's like everything you need to be a good freelancer: workshops, templates, systems, all that good stuff, along with live workshops, co-working, and all that.
Fabulous. And Gosha, I think just a quick overview of OnePage CRM.
Yeah, no problem. So OnePage CRM is a simple to use CRM. So basically revolves around building relationships and managing the clients in the most efficient way. And it combines two elements of CRM and productivity together. That's simple.
Fabulous. Thank you. Okay, great. So, with those, I think hopefully that could get some gears turning from the group. And again, from the audience, if you have any questions, toss them into the Q&A. But, Omry, I'll sort of jump things back to you. Obviously, there's so much promise within automation, but I think then there's also a lot of people, especially maybe when they work for themselves, there can be fears of giving up control a little bit. How do you, I guess it's how do you see people sort of embracing automation? And when, how do you sort of talk to folks who are maybe using automation for the first time?
So I think right now the challenge for most of the people that I'm interacting with is exactly the opposite, meaning everybody are looking, they suffer, and they're looking for a solution. They don't necessarily know what they're looking for. And right now, what we're seeing, at least when we're talking about people that are more savvy, and I'm sure that everybody here listening here are here for a reason, and so there's definitely other people, but everybody's that's here. Potentially, what we see with this cluster of individuals or businesses is that there's app fatigue. It's not that there's lack of options, and especially with AI and the speed that it's moving right now, what we're seeing is sort of a syndrome. I don't know if there's anyone that has been procrastinating on anything. Probably no one here in the audience, naturally not us, never. But I've heard that sometimes people always try to look for, a better to-do list, hoping that it will change their life dramatically, and it never does. So essentially what we're seeing is people are overwhelmed with the amount of options many times, and we're trying to declutter the fluff, meaning, and I think Rachel broached it, in the beginning, there's a difference between having, something fancy as a name or a promise, and then, what happens in the reality, especially with AI right now, and, as it matures. So I've been seeing a lot of openness, but a lot of confusion. And sadly, a lot of people are using 5, 6, 7 different pieces of software, trying to mash them together with Zapier and duct tape, and yet ending up still, doing the manual work because it's, everything is siloed. So that's today's challenge in my eyes, and not convincing people that they need to automate stuff.
No, it makes sense. It's almost like they're trying to over-engineer things when maybe some of those problems have been solved for them already by just a better solution. Does that make sense? Does that track?
I think it's a matter of really defining what is it that you want. Like, what's the solution you're after? What do you want for your business? Like, do I want to sell it? Do I want to grow it? Do I want to expand it? And these are questions that a lot of times people don't ask when they're, approaching, choosing their systems for their business. They just say, oh, okay, this looks flashy and nice. And, someone sent me a cold email that they managed to convert me because Rachel coached them and they know how to really, really pin that message. But at the end of the day, I think a lot of people resort to that Excel and those, manual things just because, they don't have the bandwidth to really, really go down and explore it as to what is it that they really, really need.
I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, listen, like, as someone who works for myself and who previously, had full-time jobs at large companies, like, you don't have a procurement department when you are a business of one. You are running, research and figuring these things out while you're also trying to do your job. I think, Rachel, I would be curious to hear, like, in your, coaching with people and maybe in some of the recommendations, how do you help people figure out, or maybe coach them on, like, what's right for them and what's really going to work for them versus just what they saw some LinkedIn influencer doing versus,
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could call me a LinkedIn influencer myself. I do post on LinkedIn every day. But I think the important thing when you're trying to find what works for you is understanding that it's an experiment. Like, everything is going to evolve. You're going to change. Your business is going to change. The tools themselves are going to change as you grow. So just checking in with yourself and making sure things are actually working for you. I have a lot of conversations with people, and we do have journal prompts for figuring out what your goals are, what success means to you. The majority of solopreneurs I work with are not looking at selling their businesses. They're not trying to become lean agencies. They're just trying to make their business of one something that is long-term sustainable for them and creating the lifestyle that works for them, whether that's spending more time with their family, being able to be a single mom and not having to leave their kids with childcare that's very expensive, or going on adventures with their solo business. So it looks more like, how can I stay on top of everything while also doing the things that I want and need to do with my life and also affording those things. So I offer Notion templates for free for managing your business. And I love Notion, but I do think that every tool has a learning curve and Notion isn't for everybody. I'm never going to hand you my dashboard and be like, hey, don't adjust anything. This should work for you. It's just an example that you can go in and customize and delete and make work for you if that's what you want to do. But I have clients that are using Asana, Trello, tools like OnePage CRM. There are so many tools out there. And so it's really up to you to experiment and find what works best for you. But if you're not setting aside time to work on your business as much as you are in your business, you'll never be able to figure that out. So I always recommend having either a CEO day, one day a week, where you just work on your business as a solopreneur, or time set aside 30 minutes every morning or something like that, where you can go in and do those getting clients routine tasks that you need to do in your CRM, or making sure you're on top of your invoicing, or testing out tools to see if you can fix things, or duct taping things together with Zapier, if that is what you're so called to. But it really just depends on you, and you will get to know yourself a lot as an entrepreneur, a lot more than you did before. You won't even realize how much you don't know yourself until you get deep in the depths of your 7th year of business.
That's true. I think that's also a really interesting point that you have there about trying something, but being honest with yourself about whether or not it works for you. And I think some of the stuff you mentioned, are like Trello and Asana and things like that. I think they kind of fall into that better to-do list category that you were mentioning, Omri, where it's if this works for you and you like it, great. If you can get used to it. But then, Gosha, it makes me think of other things like, something like OnePage CRM, which isn't really fall in that to-do list. It's just a different, working within a CRM is sort of a different way of operating, right? Than versus like, everyone's in my phone and their contact name says how I met them. I mean, like Danielle Conference, right? I'm sort of curious when you're helping people, take that leap of stepping into a CRM for the first time. How do you recommend they try making a bigger move that is about like almost approaching some workflows in a different way? What does it look like to try that?
I understand, and there's lots of fear of, moving the system from one to another, or like even fear of change. You might not be entirely happy with what you actually, have in place right now, but like, you don't really have time and you kind of feel like, oh my God, like I don't want to kind of leave my projects unattended while I'm actually looking for a better solution for myself and my business. I think, if you even consider change, I would agree with Rachel, go and try things, like make mistakes. If you don't make mistakes, you don't learn. So definitely go out and check it out for yourself. And there's just so many trials available. Like, like we're not the only tool that offers a free trial. Like I actually know from my experiences, like if I'm looking for a new system for no matter what area it would be, like, but I just go out and try. I don't like this organizing these big demos and having somebody guided me. I just need to kind of try for myself. And I usually know within a few minutes if I feel comfortable with that user interface or not. Is it for me? And if I'm ready to invest a little bit more time to kind of dig deeper into functionality. So this is a little bit like that first impression that counts, okay? It works, I think, in a similar way with the systems. If it's not for you, just move on and go for a different system. Now, when you find something that suits your needs and you're happy with it, I would say don't be shy to reach out to customer support of that particular tool, because I find it's very, very important that you get all the support that you need and that's available to you and it's easy accessible. I have to say, I have a lot of frustration going on websites, and when I look for help and I don't have that standard question, it cannot be answered by AI. It's not in the help article, it's just edge case and I need to speak to an agent and you just can't avail it, so that can be very frustrating. So make sure that you try the tool from the support perspective as well, that you can talk to a human and there's no hesitation that they can actually, they don't have, default answers, that they are there to help you. I think that would be kind of my tips there.
Yeah. Omri, I'd be kind of curious to hear from you. It's obviously a lot of systems like automation and things like that requires a little bit of setup, right? You have to do a little bit of work to make it work for you. But then at the same time, you've sort of warned about this idea of like, sometimes people go too far. What would you say might be some like red flags for folks or things to look out for that might be an early warning sign that they're trying to like fit a square peg in a round hole and make a system that doesn't really work for their needs work for them unnecessarily? I don't know, any advice that you might give to people who are assessing tools and to make sure they don't go too far in the wrong direction?
If it makes you hate your life, stop it. It's very, very simple. I think like for us, it's like things, there's definitely a learning curve to anything, but you should feel comfortable. You should enjoy it, and you should understand the immediate value and impact this thing is giving you. If you don't, then stop, circle back, and ask yourself, why the hell am I doing this? Like, why do I need this? And then the minute that you're laser focused on the outcome and the impact that you want to give and get, you'll actually review the software a lot better. So there's probably some designers here or like people that, we're all testing AI. It's one thing to try out a software with just, playing around. You never really learn it. You just press a lot of buttons. If it works for the first time, wow, amazing, this is great. If not, you leave it and say, oh, this is garbage, it didn't work for me. But if you have mission, you have something in particular that you want to accomplish, and then you go in and you're focused and you're trying to really figure it out, then you can actually learn it. And so I would advise not to waste your time with just playing buttons and and hitting that skip next on the annoying tutorials in the beginning. Just decide what is it that you want, and like really, really, there's so many flashy, cool things out there, but don't waste your time. And I think like I love a quote by the author of Atomic Habits, James Clear. He says like you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. So it's it's a sad truth, because we all we started businesses, as Rachel said, we want to be more time with our kids, we want our freedom, we have our goals, we have our whys set. The thing is that we drown in the middle. I'm particularly I'm all about creating oxygen, the revenue aspect of it, but having a business sucks you in. And when you look at a software, for me, it's like looking at, a partner or an employee. They have a function. They need to basically make you happier. And the way I assess software, and 3 weeks or even less, a week after, is I need to ask myself, like, can I look at this and say, I'll never go back? Like, that's the standard I try to hold. Like, I'll never go back. I can't. Like, now it's automated. So no, I'm not going back to doing this manually. And if I don't get that level of value from software, then I tend to try and not add it to the tech stack, because it becomes overwhelming very fast.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I actually think that's almost like you sort of hit on a good way to maybe approaching some of these things. Almost starting by, if you're thinking about starting systems, right? Start with your problems. What are the biggest issues that you have right now? Like, what are the tasks that hurt the most? What's the most painful? And I think next to that, it's like, what would it look like if it was better? What would you like? What does that mean for you, right? If you're talking about business, like billing automation and things like that, you're like, I want to get paid faster. I want to spend less time worrying about getting paid. I want to not stop these moments where I want to have fewer moments where I'm mad at my clients because I haven't gotten paid, right? Those can all be like metrics of success. I think with like something like a CRM, you're like, I want to know who I should be reaching out to. Like, I want to know the context of my relationships at my fingertips. I don't want to have to make a mistake and forget something critical about a customer that matters to me, right? Like, these are all things that, depending on your business model, could all be really strong pain points. But then I think evaluating a system to say like, hey, is it really solving the thing that hurts the most? Because if it's not, there's a really good chance that you're, going to end up just like wasting your time and getting stuck in like a doom loop with something that you're like, you're doing it because you paid for it, but not because not because it is sort of important. I think, Rachel, I think when you I'm sure you meet people who, a lot of, listen, I'll be honest, my fractional and solo business is like very light in that, like, I work with 2 clients. I am systems non-existent. It's just like, I am the type of business that requires very little. And I think I've leaned into that because the idea of having to get systems feels a little over. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that.
Sometimes it's just an overkill waste of time if you're that small,
Yeah, if you're that small, right? But it's like, I would call myself focused. Thank you. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. But I think to your, to some of the things, maybe as you're, coaching through folks, like, how do you help people understand, like, outside of the, before, like, just below the Omry test of does it make you hate your life? So just below you've gotten to the point of pure life hatred. How do you help people assess when it makes sense to explore a tool for something?
Yeah, the majority of the freelancers I work with are just starting out. So they're really creating their systems from scratch. I would say maybe 25% of freelancers I work with have been doing this for more than 5 years and are just realizing they either never set up systems or they were just sort of makeshift, and it's like driving them insane. And it doesn't really matter what stage you're in. you're going to have to come back to this over and over throughout your career because you're going to have different problems as you grow and as you learn and as your onboarding systems change and your services, whatever. We talk about change. But I think what's really important is figuring out what your actual needs are for this phase. So like when I first started out, I started a Squarespace website for my business because at the time, Squarespace was very simple and it was easy to make it beautiful and it was affordable. Nowadays, Squarespace has more than quadrupled in price and also features. It felt really overcomplicated to me when I got an update and now suddenly my entire website looks horrible because all the spacing is wrong. And I did not want to deal with taking the time to have to fix something like that constantly and have to be in another software. And I realized like there must be a better solution that's also more affordable. And so what I ended up doing is actually building my website in Notion in the back end and using an app called Super to make it look like a real website because it's only $16. I already use Notion for everything else in my business. Literally everything is in there. So why not have my website in there too? And I'm already paying for it. Like this feels like a no-brainer win-win. I just didn't know it was an option because I had stuck with something for so long that was an optimal solution in the past. But in order for me to get to that answer, I had to know what my actual needs were. I wanted it to be simple. I wanted the spacing and the design options to be limited so that I didn't have decision fatigue. I don't care if my website looks amazingly flashy. I care if it gets the message across and is easy to navigate for the people who are visiting it. So I knew what my priorities were. I knew what my ideal budget was. And then I started looking at solutions. Like Super wasn't like the first solution that I found. I looked at a bunch of different options and that's what I ended up with at the end of it all. But I had a spreadsheet of like how much it costs. There's also so many hidden costs. Like most apps that you can get nowadays don't actually share every single cost unless you like go to the like compare plans, read more, or like reach out to the sales team or have a demo. Like there's so many hidden costs that you might not even realize are associated with your website. Like you're not just paying $16 a month to host it. You also have to pay for your URL. You also might have to pay for Google Workspace. Like there's so many different things that go into it. So it's important to really actually do your research and compare yourself and not just like look at a sales page or a demo or like Omri said, like get one of those emails that's like, I'll solve all your problems and just like click through to it. Because I think most solos are on a budget and you know, the only way you're going to be able to stick to that budget and also get a functional tool is by actually doing the research. And don't be afraid to like ask ChatGPT. Like I put all my feelings and thoughts in there when I have to brain dump and I'm like, make this make sense, find the answer. And it usually will at least give me a good starting point of options to look at. Like I needed a new office chair. I didn't want to pay $1,500 for a steel case chair, but I wanted a steel case chair. So I asked ChatGPT, is there a local place I could get one cheaper? And turns out there's a sustainable office furniture refurbishment place like down the street from my house. And I got it for $200. So it's like, if you take an extra step to do some research, you might find something that was even better than you ever could have imagined. But, you know, you have to set aside that time again to work on your business to find those answers.
Yeah. And I think you hit on an interesting point where it's like we're talking about starting with like, you know, pain and KPI and then preference and priorities. There's a million bells and whistles. What matters most to you? What are the things that, because some people, you know, there's some parts of, you know, hosting a website that some person might care more about than you do. Know your pain, know what success looks like, know your preferences and priorities, and that can help you evaluate stuff a bit more effectively. You know, I think sort of like, you know, after that evaluation period comes something like implementation. You know, Gosia, I'd love to hear from you. Like, you know, if someone wants to get started with a CRM for the first time, as some, you know, what do you see as maybe some like common mistakes or pitfalls that folks might want to avoid to help make sure that it's successful?
Yeah, so changing a tool is always a little bit challenging, I suppose. You know, there's the learning curve that, you know, Omri and Rachel mentioned already. In terms of mistakes, as I said already, do them, you know, commit the mistakes, and it's the only and the best way to learn. Sometimes what I feel like, you know, in terms of implementation, people kind of struggle with contact importing, you know, like as Omri said, you don't want to be clicking around on kind of random buttons. You want to have your data in and you want to have your data organized and clean. So this is the best way of, just getting the value of the system. So that could be kind of a hurdle that you might just get some help with, especially when you're not the tech savvy. And maybe you're migrating with from some other system that doesn't have that kind of connection through Zapier, or you just have to kind of work maybe with Excel and clean your data and so on. So clean data in is really, really important. And also, I suppose when you actually start using a new system, that initial investment, that it's a learning curve, it slows you down in the beginning. And a lot of people might just get frustrated saying that, maybe that's not really working for me. I'm not really getting the value out of it. And they kind of leave it and then don't use it, which I think it's a mistake, because if you believe at the start, yes, that was the right system for you, keep doing what you're doing. Don't give up too soon, because once it will take some time to kind of get up to speed and get to know the system and be familiar with it, and just don't you don't feel that being lost within it. But it's really important that when you actually get to a point when you're familiar with it, and then you start kind of harvesting that what knowledge gives you, the quick kind of updates of your contacts, or just getting through the task those that you have to do, complete that's needed to your project work and stuff like that. But also it actually means that when you're familiar with the system, you willing to work with it every day, or no matter how, what's your preferred frequency, and you keep those data updated as well, which is extremely important, that you don't have outdated data. So you always kind of send relevant information to your clients, and you don't lose momentum when you build the relationship as well. I think, in the service-based solo businesses, it's very important that you keep your close connection with your clients, and you always keep them updated. So the good thing out of it is when you actually keep them updated, they don't go after you saying, what happened with my, how are you getting on with my project and stuff like that. You're always ahead of them, and you want to make sure that whatever steps you take, they always kind of leave the trace in your CRM as well, just to see what's being done as well, and keep your data up to date as well. So there's no easy way out of it. Just try kind of different options, but keep using it, and just try, get over the hurdle of, trying new systems and getting used to it.
Fantastic. Thank you. Well, we're running low on time here. So I do want to acknowledge that each of our lovely panelists has an offer for attendees today, which I think, Candice, perhaps you can pop those up right now. I don't know if we could do all three at the same time, or otherwise I will walk through each one of them. But to kick us off, if you sign up for Ankor, you can get $50 in platform credits. So Candice, if you can, or Omri, do you know if there's a code for that? Oh, there we go.
Basically, there's a URL that I created for this. Let me share it with everybody. Essentially, like the system, we don't have a subscription, so it's free by design. The credits, so it's free, and on top of that, if you sign in, you get additional $50. The way that we make money is that we try, there was so many conversations here. There's a term that's starting to rise on the web that's called describing companies as SaaS holes. So it's a company that chooses their pricing as basically, it's not abusive, but it started off as something that looks like it's really, really nice and small, and then grows to something monstrous, or they're using the killer feature to get you to pay them the most. We decided to, especially because we're a payment system, to match our interests so that it's exactly with our clients. So we only get paid when they get paid, meaning the proposal is free, collecting the money is free. Only when we transfer money to your bank, it's a $5 flat fee. So if it's $1,000 invoice, it will be $995, and that's it. And it doesn't matter if it's a $10,000 invoice or it's $1,000 invoice, it will stay the same. And the credit card fees by design are on the client. So if you can actually assign the 2.9% credit card fee on the client, and ACH is an option for everybody, and it's free. So that's it. And I'll share the link.
Fantastic. And then Rachel, do you want to go next since you just popped yours in the chat? So that link's available there.
Yeah. If you go to that link, it has like a bunch of pictures and descriptions and stuff. You don't need to put the whole thing up on the screen. But I am offering 20% off the majority of my products and services, including one-on-one coaching, the website creation service I have for freelancers, my Get Clients on LinkedIn done for you service, and a bunch of other good stuff. So if you're interested in coaching or help with your freelance business, just click that link and you'll get all the codes, and you'll also get the information to contact me if you want to do a discovery call with me to make sure we're the right fit.
Fantastic. And last but not least, when rounding us out, Gosha.
Yeah, thank you very much. I don't see the special offer coming up yet, or is it? But we offer 25% off for first 3 months with the code SOLO25 off. Like, we do offer a first free trial for 21 days, and feel free to kind of check it out and sign up. And if you have any questions, I'm on LinkedIn, and please reach out to me. I'd be happy to have a chat with you as well if you have any questions.
Fantastic. I dropped yours into the chat for you, Gosha. So now all 3 of those are also in the chat. So please give them a click, take a screenshot so you've got them saved. And we'll go, and excited to have everyone here. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. Appreciate the time. Omri, Rachel, Gosha, thank you so much for the 3 of you. And everyone else, enjoy your 9-minute break until you head off to your have 9 minutes of CEO time. Is that enough for you? And then we'll see you at the next session. So thank you everybody so much.
Thanks y'all.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.